Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our press conference here regarding the Protecting Mother Earth gathering that we're holding this weekend over at Frank's Landing. My name is Candy Mosset, and I'll tell you in Hidatsa, Dosha, Margot, Marashi, Ma'a Ishawiya Hets. And so I said, hello, relatives. My name is Eagle Woman. My English name is Candy, and I'm coming here from North Dakota, my Mandan, Hidatsa, Rikara Nations, and I work with the Indigenous Environmental Network. I'm here this morning to introduce our beautiful, beautiful panel of speakers that are going to let you know a little bit more about the Protecting Mother Earth gathering. And we're going to start this morning here with a good friend, Hanford McCloud. Hanford is the 6th council member of the Nisqually Indian tribe, and I'll go ahead and bring Hanford up and let him introduce himself.
Yay! Thank you, Candy. So my name is Huwikwadai Hanford McCloud, and as a member of the Nisqually tribe, you know, I grew up along that river down there, and it's always been a really big part of my life, water in general. You know, if we're a fisherman or on a canoe, or even now as divers under the water. So it was really important, you know, for us to protect this water. As a council member, you know, this is my first term, but being on council, it's been a very honorable pleasure to be a representative for my people and continue the work that's already been laid down in front of us. So PME, Protecting the Mother Earth Conference, has been something that's been on our radar for quite some time. You know, I've been a part of IEN conferences in the past. I remember back, I think it was in 2000 or 2001, I was a workshop presenter down there with my family, and it was more so along some of the tracking and some of the protecting that we had of our resources and our culture. But you know, growing up in a radical family, you know, my father Don McCloud Jr., my mom Joyce, my grandparents is Janet McCloud and Don McCloud Sr. So I got firsthand experience of a lot of that, you know, standing up and protecting. And, you know, I tell this story because I was 8 years old at the time on my grandma's property, which is located in Yelm, Washington. And on that piece of property, she had these trees, and the trees were right next to the road. And it became an issue for the city because the city wanted to widen the road, but also make a sidewalk. And as these city workers started coming down the roadway of this street, my grandma rounded up her grandchildren. I don't know if she was babysitting us at the time, but there was about 8 of us there. And she put us in these red cedar vests and put a red cloth around our forehead, and we stood around these trees and we held hands around these trees because they weren't gonna cut these trees down on my grandma's property. And that was kind of, for me, as you remember these stories and these events, you know, it kind of catapulted me into that situation of being a protector, but also someone who is continuing the culture and the tradition and carrying on that way of life that's been passed on for many generations. I seen this Protecting the Mother Earth Conference coming here today to the Wahilu Frank's Landing, co-hosted with the Nisqually tribe, but for the purpose of bringing that awareness to the surrounding communities around us. You know, how we hear that we are still here, but more so along the path of, you know, we will always be here to stand up for this. We will always be the voice that no one else wants to say. And that's who we are as the indigenous people and the protectors here. So having this conference come here was again a great pleasure, because I wanted to bring that medicine again to the area, but also some of the training, some of the, you know, the people ask, what is the direct action? How do we get involved? And so I've been hearing these questions for quite some time over the years. Now, I took a canoe over to Standing Rock and a group of people from the community, 35 of us, and they had such a great experience. And I told them, this is what life experience is about, is going to these protests, but also participating in these conferences. And my grandma used to always say that these gatherings are a great learning area for your people and for your youth to continue forth in this work. So again, it's a great honor to be a part of this conference this year, and it's a great honor to be a part of all the people that are going to be here for this event. So thank you.
rolling along. For those of you that are just joining on Facebook and in social media everywhere else, thank you. We are here on the steps of the Capitol in Olympia, and we're talking about the 17th Protecting Mother Earth Gathering, which is going to be starting tomorrow, camp setup, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 days of gathering, ceremony, and strategy, all in prayer, all in culture and tradition with nations from around the world. So we appreciate anybody coming out and visiting. We appreciate those of you that can't make it hitting that donation button on the site. We appreciate our speakers. Hanford, thank you for that story. Just reminded me of stories of my grandma. And we're going to move on here with Willie Frank III, who is the 7th council member of the Nisqually tribe. And we're going to bring him up, let him continue to introduce himself. Willie.
Good morning, everyone. Willie Frank III. I'm a Nisqually Tribal Council member. My Indian name is Puyallup, and I serve on the Nisqually Tribal Council along with Hanford. I've been on the council for 9 years, and I feel like the importance of this conference, of this Mother Earth conference being held here at Frank's Landing. You know, there's a rich history of a lot of history that went on at Frank's Landing, with many arrests, many fights, many of our people were tear gassed, beaten, and thrown in jail for exercising their treaty rights. So I feel like now this is the time to bring people together. This is the time for us to come together as Indigenous people to fight back. I mean, because it's time. You know, I always tell people, I'm a fisherman. I fished with my father. My father was Billy Frank Jr., who passed away 4 years ago now. And I know this brings great excitement to him and many other of our elders who all went through the blood, sweat, and tears to get us to where we are today. And this group of people, this panel up here, I'm truly honored to be a part of this. And I thank Tom and the others for bringing this back to us here at Nisqually and Frank's Landing. There's a lot of issues going on here in the state of Washington that affect our tribes. We just had the culvert case 2 weeks ago that affected our tribes in the state of Washington, affected our water, affected our salmon and our way of life. We have Atlantic salmon going on up here right now. We have an issue with Atlantic salmon being in our Puget Sound, being in our beautiful waters right here. We have an issue with water, period. You know, people, I think, look out and they see this beautiful area that we live in, how green it is. Everything that is here is, people don't understand the lack of water that the state of Washington is going through. And it's a tough issue when we have our brothers and sisters up here arguing, fighting with the state of Washington and the federal government over water rights, because water is sacred to us. Salmon are sacred to us as Native people. I always tell folks there's not a price on salmon. There shouldn't be a price on water. There shouldn't be a price on any of our natural resources. So I think this event this week here that we're hosting and that we're going to be a part of is going to be a good experience. As Hanford said, you know, what do we want to get out of this? And I feel like, you know, we have to come away with some calls to action. And it's gonna take everybody taking part in this to continue to educate folks about the issues that are going on throughout the world, not just Indian country, but throughout the world. And I feel like you know, us coming together, working together for the better part of our environment, for the better part of the people, you know, we can really make a difference, because I really feel like it's time. You know, we have a big fight ahead of us in Washington, D.C. with the president right now. You know, he's not a indigenous people's president. He doesn't care about, you know, the color of your skin. You know, and so I feel like we just need to keep coming together. I'm looking forward to the agenda. We got a really good agenda for the whole weekend, and I hope everybody can come and take part in this and enjoy themselves and really get the history that went on here at Frank's Landing and all of our tribes within the state of Washington. So I thank you very much.
Speaking of the agenda, you can check that out at www.ienearth.org/PME 2018. or just go to ienorth.org. You can find a link there as well. We have the full agenda, which will be posted later on today with all of the workshops that we do have. There's approximately 30 taking place each day, Friday and Saturday, so check that out. Continuing on with our awesome speakers here, and thanks for that, Willie. It brings it back to place and where we are and why we're here, to help fight and to protect this really beautiful, beautiful landscape. Holy smokes. All right, I want to bring up next, my pleasure here, Connie McCloud, who is the cultural director of the Puyallup tribe. I'm saying that wrong. Puyallup. Sorry. Has spent decades preserving the legacy of her people in the South Sound. So come on up here, Connie, and introduce yourself the right way.
Good morning. My name is Slew Fico, Cedar Moon woman. I'm a Puyallup tribal elder. I was raised upriver on the prairie along the Nisqually River. I've worked for the Puyallup tribe ever since I was 20. I'll be 65 this August. So I want to thank the ancestors of this land for allowing us to be here, allowing all of us to be here today, to share in a message that we all have a responsibility to take care of this Mother Earth. We have a responsibility to share in protecting our water, our salmon, our traditional foods, our plants, our basket materials, our berries, wherever our people go, to take care of themselves, in a way that we always knew and understood was healthy, because we listened and we watched to when nature told us it was time to gather those medicines, when the animals told us it was time to go hunt, and when our people understood and knew that we always said thank you. We have our ceremonies, our first salmon ceremonies, our root feast, our huckleberry feasts, because we knew and understood that relationship with the Mother Earth, that we must protect them, but we also must always come with an intent of gratitude, to always to remember to say thank you. Thank you for giving their lives to become our food, our spiritual food. When we take something for nature, we always say thank you. But it is that responsibility to one another. Today I came and my spirit comes ahead of me to greet the people that are here, because I can't lie to my spirit. I have to be honest. And in that relationship with the people around you, then I'm looking forward to seeing my relatives, looking forward to seeing an old friend, looking forward to being a part of something larger than all of us, that can't be accomplished without each of us understanding that relationship to one another and moving that forward. So today, I just say thank you. Thank you for the gifts of the people that are coming to share with us, that our young people will be ready to listen, to learn, and thanking you that our people can be good hosts. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie, for sharing your tears with us and for sharing that spirit. It's important because it's why we're here. It's why we do this. I mean, I've been working with the Indigenous Environmental Network for 11 years and couldn't be more grateful I've had a really good mentor that has really tried to lift up some of us youth that were kind of lost, and that's Tom Goldtooth, the Executive Director of the Indigenous Environmental Network. So at this time I want to bring him up and ask him to share a few words about this, the 17th gathering since IEN's inception in 1990. Tom.
I'm really honored to be able to stand here following up with the requests of the people, the youth and elders of this really rich and beautiful territories of the Northwest Coast, the Salish Sea, the southern part of the Puget Sound. It reminds me of our formation of the Indigenous Environmental Network in 1990. And it was a call for action by our youth and our elders. One of our founders, a youth who now is a mother, she's grown up, she's still on the board, Benishi Albert from the Yuchi and Anishinaabe. She's here helping out on our logistics committee. People like that and our elders who have passed on. So it's really good and honored to be here. I knew Janet McCloud, Don McCloud, Billy Frank Jr., and they're the ones that inspired me as a young man. We're bringing people like Madonna Thunderhawk as well. She was inspired, so we're bringing together in unification, and that's one of the things that our elders throughout Turtle Island, North America have told us, is that we have to come together. We have to strengthen our sacred hoop, that we have to establish these confederacies of unification and treaties between our elected tribal governments, our tribal programs, our grassroots indigenous peoples, our traditional practitioners, our spiritual leaders, and our youth, because we work together, and especially our women's societies. Our foundation is based upon our women and our voice of our grannies, our aunties, our sisters, and our daughters and granddaughters. So with that, we are very proud to be here. We're bringing people from all over the world, people from the Sariaku from Ecuador, the Sapara from Ecuador, the Hune people from the Acre, state of Acre, Brazil, and we have our brothers and sisters from the Pacific who are here. So it's coming together and really develop strategy and how do we take on this continuation of the violations of our rights. All the legacy that Mr. Billy Frank had left us to fight for is this co-management, that we can work together, but it has to be around principles of respect and acknowledgement of our rights, including fair and meaningful participation, consultation. We should not be having issues like these culvert issues that I'm learning about here decades later. And so we have a President Trump in administration. We have the escalation of climate change. We're facing more extractive industry in our homelands as indigenous peoples. We're facing the escalation of more development of fossil fuels. And we were invited here by the Canoe families, the young people, a couple years ago, coming from Lummi. And they came with us to the United Nations climate negotiations, part of the youth paddlers. And they stood with us with their cedar hats. And we remember that as they talked about protection of the Salish Sea from the pollution, especially any potential fossil fuel contamination from coal trains, oil trains, fracking, pipelines, tankers. So we're here to come together and develop one voice as indigenous peoples, to stand with one mind in defense of the sacredness of Mother Earth. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. It's amazing being a part of this and to see how people have come up in the movement. And I have a really good friend that's here that is actually, she's the executive director of Indigenous Climate Action, and it just makes me really proud to say that she's my friend, because that's a big deal. I'm a little scared about that title of executive director because I see what they go through on a daily basis to fight for the people, but to also have the fingers pointed, well, if something went wrong, it must be your fault. So it's a really tough position. And this year, this event with Nisqually and the Indigenous Environmental Network is also co-hosted by the Indigenous Climate Action based in Canada. And we're really proud. I'm really proud to introduce my friend who's a member of the Athabasca Chippewa First Nations, Eriel Deranger. Come on up, Eriel.
Oops. Thank you. Ikvanete, Dene Sotlane Ta Eriel Tseekwe Hushe. My name is Eriel Tseekwe, and it means Thunder Woman in my language, and I'm a Dene Sotlane woman from Northern Canada in Treaty 8 territory in Alberta. Deranger Betsy Ani Hesli. I'm a part of the Deranger family in our territory, and our traditional last name was Nisqually, and Nisqually means river keeper. So my name is Thunder Woman River Keeper, and I'm really honored to be here. And I want to, thanks and give gratitude to the Puyallup people and the Nisqually people and the traditional territory we're on. And thank you for your openings this morning. I'm so happy to be here as a woman an Indigenous woman from across the medicine line in Canada. Canada is often looked at as a place that is better than the United States. We have better healthcare, we have better access to education, but the issues around Indigenous issues don't stop at the border or the medicine line. We have the same problems, and in some cases it's a bit worse. In Canada, I am from a territory in northern Alberta where we are developing the largest industrial project on planet Earth, the Alberta tar sands. And this project is not just impacting my community, but it impacts coast to coast to coast to coast of the entire continent of North America. So when we talk about the importance of unity, we also have to ground ourselves in the fact that the issues that we're faced in the extraction of dirty fossil fuels and energy projects that litter across the entire continent of North America, that there are transboundary issues that have served to not just impact the lands and territories, but are severely impacting our communities across the continent. These projects are not just destroying the lands and landscapes, but they are actually impacting our rights as Indigenous peoples, and the most impacted in our communities are women. The violence against the land that we're seeing in our traditional territories, whether it's in northern Alberta in Treaty 8 or right here in Puyallup and Nisqually territories in Washington state, is violence against Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is a feminine entity, and women as life givers and water keepers, we feel those impacts first and foremost, and we see violence against the land as violence against women. Having this conference and having all of our people from across the great continent of Turtle Island coming together to discuss ways and strategize ways to protect life, to protect water, to protect Mother Earth is absolutely critical in us strengthening those sacred hoops, in us bringing our minds together. I think of a prophecy and a story that I heard. There's a story that I heard from an elder from Alaska that talked about how during the last ice age, our people came together from across North America, and we, dropped our wars and our disputes, and we came together to share our stories and our knowledge so that we would survive that ice age. And it was prophesied at that time that there would be another time in history where there would be a great change in the land, and that we would once again have to all come back together to share our knowledge, to share our values, and find ways and drop our wars and drop our disputes and come together and build a strategy so that we can survive once again. We are now in the climate crisis, and that time has come. And we must all come together, and gatherings like the Protecting Mother Earth allow us those spaces to come together as Indigenous peoples to bring our knowledge systems and our connections back to the earth and re-ground ourselves and root ourselves in our cultures and our identities. So, I raise my hands up to IEN for making this conference happen, and this being the 17th one, because we have to come together to strengthen the sacred hoop so that we can survive this crisis, so that our knowledge stays intact, so our culture stays intact, and we can work together to continue the protection of Mother Earth. So thank you, hi, masicho.
Some powerful words from our speakers. We have another speaker here. Speaking of international travelers, I just had the pleasure of meeting Mike Smith this morning and found out Mike is from New Zealand, Aotearoa. Aotearoa. I was trying to say it right, and I just appreciate everyone else for saying things the right way. He's a climate activist and a tribal leader. And so Mike, come on up and share us a few words about yourself and where you came from.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Te mea tuatahi ka tuake au kei te mihi atu ki a koutou katoa. Tō koutou mana ko koutou tapu. Te maunga kei reira ko tahoma e tū mai atu I tērā taha o te whenua nei he ngā mihi. Ranga nui, kei rongi mātou, te akina mai. Te akina mai tātou te tangata kei rongi I te whenua te papatuanuku, nei. He mihi aroha. He mihi anō ki a koutou te hunga kāinga, te whānau Franks, te whānau McCloud, a tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou mō koutou manakitanga ki a mātou I tēnei wā, kei rongi o koutou whenua. Tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou te iwi hei te aki te hātu. Te hātu e rere ane I tō koutou awa te Nisqually. Koutou ngā kaitiaki. Kaitiaki o te hādu, tēnā koutou. My name is Mike Smith. I'm from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm a Māori person. It's a great honour to be here. I've never been to the United States of America before. I was quite a militant man when I was younger, and I was quite surprised when the American government gave me a visa to come here. I thought I would be turned away at the border, but thankfully I was able to come here. America has loomed large amongst our people through the power of the mass media. One of the greatest colonising forces probably has been the some of you are native sons of Seattle, not necessarily native American sons, but native sons like Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was probably one of the most powerful colonising forces when I was a young man. We look to the United States of America for a lead in many things, in terms of culture, in terms of lifestyle, and so it's been a very dominant force. As young children, we'd go to the movies, and we would watch the genres of that time, the Western movies. And I'll tell you one thing, that when they showed movies in my home country, the first thing they would do was they'd play God Save the Queen. You Canadian family probably relate to that. Our Queen, the Queen of England. Yep. Yeah, our Queen. So they'd play this song, God Save the Queen. And all the Māori children, and everyone was required to stand up, but all the Māori children would sit, and we wouldn't stand up. And then we'd watch the Westerns, and all the Māori children would cheer every time a Native American person would kill a cowboy. We'd think, yeah, you know, and of course the white people in the movie theatre really used to get upset with us. We wouldn't stand when they said, God bless the Queen. We'd be cheering the Native Americans every time they fired an arrow into a white oppressor. We were just completely at odds with what popular culture was requiring of us at that time. So here we are now at the edge of the 21st century, and things are not good. We're in the midst of a climate crisis, and notwithstanding the problems that we've had with the people, the colonising forces within our country, we've come to the opinion that we must put aside our differences, and that's been quite hard for activists like myself to do. We haven't been very well disposed towards the colonisers, the settlers in our country. We've fought them for many years. I just realised this morning it's probably 40 years since personally I began my activism. And so it's a big thing to have to lay down our feelings of ill will and to our anger, to lay down our anger and to join together with the white people of our nation for the greater good of protecting the environment. It's a big thing. It's hard. It's a difficult thing to do, but we've done that over the last couple of years in the face of this global emergency. So that's what's brought us here to your lands. Is to, you know, America is one of the largest emitters of greenhouse gases on the planet, and if we're to save our home country, Aotearoa, we must join together with the progressive American people that would bring a halt to the burning of fossil fuels within your own country. So that's why we're here in solidarity with you. This is a savage land. This is a very savage land. From where we look at this place and we think there's so much savagery here. We see it in the homelessness, we see it in the racism, we see it in the dispossession of the tangata whenua, the people of the land here. So it's beautiful to be here amongst, there's so much grace that we've felt already from the native peoples here, from the Franks and the McCloud families. We've only been here a couple of days, but my young son who's accompanying me, he was walking around in the forest yesterday, and he just kept on saying this word, wairua. Wairua means spirit. And as he was looking around, he just said, wairua, wairua, wairua. So the spirit all around us. So in the land of savagery, we thank you for the grace that you've shown us, for opening up your lands, your customs, your beautiful way of life to us. So we're very, very honoured to be here amongst you. So we, just this year, after 10 years of struggling against deep sea oil drilling, which our government has wanted to do in our country, they've opened up our marine area for deep sea oil drilling. So we've been fighting that for the last 10 years. In our initial battles, we had to fight against the Navy. The government sent the naval frigates and gunships after us. We had the Air Force flying over and buzzing us. We had the police special tactics groups all kitted out and like your SWAT teams boarding our fishing vessels and arresting our people and putting them in jail. But after a 10-year struggle, I'm happy to report that just a couple of months ago, the government was finally forced to back down, and now our country has officially banned any new deep-sea oil drilling permits in our exclusive environmental zone in our waters. Our EEZ, the exclusive environmental zone in our waters, is the 4th largest in the world. So we've been able to ban fossil fuel expansion in the 4th largest EEZ in the world, and we're only a small nation. So we believe it can be done. We think back to World War II when our nations, the men of our nations, the Māori battalion, joined together with the warriors of this country, and they went across to Europe to fight fascism, to fight racism in Europe. And the world mobilized its economies, it mobilized its populations to contest and to conquer these great evils that walked amongst us on the earth. And so we know it can be done. We know that it can be done if we have the political will and intent to do it. And if our governments don't have that political will, well, then we must mobilise our populations to generate that. And that's how we won our struggle in Aotearoa. It just became politically untenable for any government to resist our campaigns and our movement. Anybody who would have resisted us would have suffered by losing power at the next election. So it's that type of mass political movement. It's a peaceful movement. It's not one that's done through violence, but it's one that can be done, as you say, within the spirit of our ceremony and within the spirit of nature and within the spirit of love for each other as fellow humans. Engari kānui mō tēnei wā, o ti rā he mihi aroha, he mihi whānui atu ki a koutou, katoa, huri no, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing that with all of us. Learning so many good things, and this is just a little bit of what you're going to experience this next few days. So starting tomorrow on the 27th, we're going to be having camp set up. Some people are going to be coming in with their tents and setting those up. And that's fine. Come on in, help us out. We're looking for volunteers to help with things because we are starting at 5:30 a.m. on Thursday, the 28th. And it's a very important way to start this conference, this gathering, with our sunrise ceremony and our fire blessing. That fire has been, I'll say going, not lit, but going for all of these now, this to the 17th one. The coals from the very first gathering were carried to the second. Those coals were carried to the third, and so on. So we have from the past PME gathering, which was in 2011 in my territory, in North Dakota, the Mandan, Hidatsa, Rikra nations, representatives are coming and they're bringing the coals from the sacred fire that'll be burning all 4 days of this event. Really powerful. If you, like Mike was saying, you can feel it in the land. You can feel the history here. We're here in ceremony and prayer, and we want you to join us for that sunrise ceremony and for that lighting of that sacred fire. We will have a welcoming, a paddle welcoming, a wahela welcoming. We'll have a Medicine Creek Treaty signatory welcoming, gifts and protocols, a traditional dinner that first night, and then evening programs of cultural sharing. On Friday the 29th, again, we open each day with our sunrise ceremonies, our water ceremony. Bring your water, a very small amount, just a small amount from your homelands. Bring that so that we can conduct the water ceremony on Friday. We're going to have morning plenaries each day, afternoon plenaries each day, workshops 3 times a day. You can choose from 10 different workshops going on. It's going to be hard to choose what to go to, but we are going to be recording these, not all of them, but all of the plenaries and a good amount of the workshops. We have a talent show Friday night. We have different film screening things going on that you can participate in. Saturday, open in a good way with the sunrise blessing water ceremony. Plenaries. We're going to have the Medicine Creek Treaty Site Tour. Workshops, more plenaries, dinner, and honoring on that night on Saturday for all of our brothers and sisters and relatives that have fallen in the struggle fighting to protect their homelands. We're going to honor them in a good way. And then we have, after that, some more film screenings that night, and then audio pharmacy is, I don't know if the older folks know audio pharmacy, but they have confirmed, and they will be performing for us on Saturday night on site there at Frank's Landing. And then on Sunday, again, sunrise blessing, breakfast. We'll do a report back from the plenaries, and we'll close with the Indigenous Environmental Network, Indigenous Climate Action, and our Nisqually relatives and hosts here in a good way. And we're going to be coming out of this. This isn't just a 4-day event and it's done. It continues on. And it continues on in the hearts of all the people that come. We have 1,000 people registered to attend the event. From my experience, half the people don't register. So we're looking forward to that. Come on in, come volunteer, come registered. www.ienearth.org/PME 2018. We are going to end the press conference here, but we are going to be available, all of our speakers, for questions and answers and interviews by any of the media that are here, and for anybody that wants to get a hold of us online that might be watching via social media land. Go ahead and go to our website, ienearth.org. And Matikedads, thank you so much to everybody for giving your heart and your time and your blessings and starting this out in a really good way. And for the rest of you, come on out and share with us and join with us. Thank you.